Hello everybody and welcome to today's demo video. Today we're going to take a closer look at the Radial Gauge Plus control, part of the Vision Library Plus symbol package for PiVision. Alright, let's get started. So before we create our symbol, we have to select the Radial Gauge Plus symbol at the top and then choose our attribute. We drag that attribute onto the display and are presented with the basic gauge. Initially, all we see is the value in the middle, as well as like an indicator at the side of that gauge. One of the main differences compared to the default radial gauge is the ability to add multi-state limits, which we are going to do now. We can right-click Enable Limits and show those limits as these colored areas within the gauge itself. Then there are a couple of different options as far as the configuration goes. First up, there is the scale that allows me to change the actual angle of the radial gauge. I can do between 360 degrees as well as 180. For now we're going with that default setting. There's also the scale line at the outset that I can show and hide like this. For now we're going to leave it like this, and we can also adjust the scale range if you want a different scale. Also change the direction from clockwise to counterclockwise. So for the scale we leave that. Next up we have the ticks configuration. Ticks are those little lines that represent the values, and I can either hide them entirely, or I can change their size as well as their position. So they're located outside right now. I can even move them inside and change the color to white, for example. I can also do the same for the minor tick as well and show them on the inside. For the labels, there's also a couple different options. I can either hide the labels entirely or show them, then position them outside the ring or inside the ring. I can change like the positioning using that offset here. For now we're going to stick with the outside position. Next up, I can choose the color. I could use like a default color like the white here, or use range, and it's going to automatically apply the multi-state range color to those labels. For the range bar configuration, the range bar is the multi-state bar that you see here. We can also do a couple different options. We can hide the range bar if we don't want to show it. We can also change its positioning. The positioning is always relative to the scale, the white scale line here. So I can move them outside like this, or on the inside. Now we're going to use that outside setting here, or use inside. We can adjust the size of the bar, so I can make it bigger, and I can also make it a little bit smaller. And additionally, I can choose if I wanted to increase in size, so I can change like the end size and modify the start size so it's increasing with the value itself. And I can define like a gap between those bars, as well as the opacity. Next we have the highlight feature that allows me to highlight that specific range that is currently active. So if I turn that on, what you will see is that the red area here is going to be highlighted, and once that value changes and it's going to move into the green area, you will see that the green value will start to highlight. Now we're going to disable that setting and continue with the next settings, which is the center label. Inside I can show and hide that center label, and also either use the marker color or a default color for that label. Next up we have the important data source configuration. One of the main features the Radial Gauge Plus provides is the ability to show multiple data sources. So I can use more tags or attributes and pull them onto the chart, and they're going to show at the same gauge. And then I can configure how I would like to display those. I can display these markers, and you can see here I can modify the marker to show things like a dot, for example, move them to the center, and then give them like a different styling, so I can change the border width. So instead of like a triangle marker, I have this little dot here, so I can easily distinguish different data sources from one another. Apart from markers, there's also different options like bars, so I can show an entire bar around the gauge for other data sources, so I can do like multiple of those. I can use either a custom color for those or the multistate color. You can choose like custom color here, and these bars are going to display on the inside. I can also display them on the outside if I wanted to, so there's the bar setting, so I can move that bar to the outside as well. I can change its size, so I can make it a little smaller, and now I get these cool little bars on the inside. And finally we have the needle setting, so instead of a bar or a marker, I can use like a needle, this, and I can do that for multiple as well, so I can change all of them to a needle, and they're going to be displayed on the single chart. And as you've seen here, the labels start spreading across the actual gauge. And with that, I can pretty much configure anything, so it's highly flexible. I can change all the data sources, the positioning. I can remove things like ticks or labels, or just remove the scale entirely, for example, remove the range bar and just have a nice looking gauge like this. So the possibilities are pretty much endless for those. And I can also decide which label I would like to show in the middle. So I can go to label and disable the center label here. So now we're just seeing the first as well. Alright, that was it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.